I'm Jim Longworth. Welcome to another edition of Triad Today, and coming up later on, our infamous roundtable gets together. We'll tackle all sorts of controversial topics, but between then and now, we have some great guests and important information coming your way. For one thing, we'll tell you why opera is something for all ages of kids. It's going to be fun. We'll also give you some tips on dental health, keeping care of your teeth and gums. Dave Briggs will be by to tell us what's coming up in the new season at the High Point Theater, that and much more. But first, we turn our attention to something I'm excited to learn about. It sounds really neat, and it has to do with making soccer available to all kids. And we have three grown-up kids next to me that are going to help us with this topic. On my immediate right, David Daggett, our good friend, is on the show very often, and he's, of course, with Daggett Schuler Attorneys at Law. Next to him, our very special guest that David and Griff brought with us. Sydney Beeson is a senior at Forsyth Country Day and a student leader with something called Top Soccer. We're going to find out about that in just a second. And, of course, bringing up the rear, our good friend, Griff Schuler from Daggett Schuler. Welcome, everybody.
Thanks, Jim.
And let me start, guys, if it's okay with you and Lori, our director, I want to go to Sydney and spend a couple minutes with her on this soccer thing. First,
you spend all the time with Sydney. Yeah. She's better than us.
Well, David and Griff are going to be leaving. That's right.
Than me.
We'll just kill David and Griff's mics. That's right. Sydney, what is Top Soccer?
Top Soccer is a program run through Twin Cities Soccer, and it allows kids with special needs to come out and play soccer. It doesn't always have to be soccer. Sometimes it's duck, duck, goose. Sometimes it's taking a walk around the track. Basically anything that the athlete needs. And we have kids with all different kinds of special needs that basically just get together and have a good time.
It's admirable. I love it. But let me just ask a stupid question. Why is it important, do you think?
I think that it allows to build a community within Winston-Salem. We have kids from all over that come with all different special needs. It allows for the parents to communicate with one another and build strong relationships there. It allows the athletes to build relationships with buddies, and the buddies to watch these athletes overcome challenges that they are accustomed to.
Well, you talk about buddies, and of course I introduced you. Part of your introduction was that you're a student leader. So let me ask you, in that role, what would you and buddies and other folks do specifically? Give me an example of how they would help some of the other kids.
So our job is to basically make the program run. We do everything from get sponsors to get trophies to get cake to communicate with the athletes and buddies, but as well as be a resource for the buddies if they're encountering different challenges with their athlete, that we're really the right-hand man to come in and step in, and we're
So that student leadership board is really important. How did you get involved with that?
Yes, so it's a process that you submit an application and then you have to go through an interview process and then you're selected.
I want to turn to David Daggett here for a second. David, why did Daggett Schuler get involved in Top Soccer?
Well, we've been involved with twin soccer for a number of years.
Right.
And then the executive committee of the student leadership came to our office to make a presentation, and I sat there and cried.
We were blown away.
We were blown away. They were so impressive. It was like they had us at hello.
Yeah.
It's terrific. It's also a natural connection with the focus on youth that we've had in the community and the focus that we've helping people with disabilities and those sort of things. So you have disabled kids, Down syndrome kids, right, all across the board, and it's a model of inclusion and acceptance for that community and for their families. Very special.
Absolutely. Griff, why are you excited about it?
Well, the buddy system I think is really neat. My daughter is involved with it. She's played soccer with twins for a number of years. She's good friends with Sydney, and she got involved with it and as on the buddy level. And each Sunday when they have the program, the buddies are matched up. It's usually one or two buddies with one of the athletes, and they go around with them, and the athletes hug on them and love them all during that day, and they make that special connection. And then the next week, they come back, and they may have a new buddy the next week. But it's exciting because then they get to bond, and it's just really special that you have these teenagers that are involved in it, that want to be involved with the athletes, and it's a very neat program.
Sure. And Sydney, how long does the Top Soccer season run?
There's 2 seasons, one in the spring, one in the fall, and it lasts 8 weeks.
And I'm going to put up a couple of websites here because I'm assuming that parents and everybody who are interested can sign up through these. One is the twincitysoccer.org, and the other is twinsfoundation.org. And Sydney, that you can sign up and find out more about it through that, right?
Yeah.
Also on screen, daggettschulerlaw.com. I hope you'll check that out. These guys do so many great things in the community. And also a quick shout out to our friend Catherine Vernon, who just does all sorts of great things to keep this show running, and we appreciate her help. All right, and Sydney, thanks for all you do.
Yes, thank you for having me.
All right. We'll be right back after this. On Triad Today, and you have missed the best part of the show, and you didn't even see it. During the commercial break, my next guest and I were harmonizing. He more so, I mean, he's a professional singer. I was just, I was his backup. Next to me is our good friend David Holly. He's Director of Opera and Professor of Music at UNCG, and we welcome you to the show, sir.
It's great to be here.
Good to see you. Native of Morristown, New Jersey, and doing great things at UNCG. How long have you been at UNCG?
Since 1992, just finished my 26th year.
Wow, 1992. And now you're also Director of Opera, so that means, what does that mean technically when you're Director of Opera? I mean, do you oversee the different productions or what?
Well, yeah, a lot of it is putting the productions together, sets, costumes, lighting, coordinating with my great colleagues in the UNCG Theater Department and working with their students who design a lot of our shows. And it's mostly administrative, but then when I get to actually conduct or stage direct, there's an artistic aspect to it as well.
Yeah, I was going to ask you because you have a beautiful voice, and do you allow yourself to be involved in productions from a creative standpoint, be able to sing and
I actually don't sing in any of our UNCG productions. I do that in various venues throughout the country in my career.
Right.
But the singing, all our productions are done by all students that are in degree programs.
Right, and are most of the performances in Taylor, or where do you hold
No,
them?
they're in UNCG Auditorium.
UNCG Auditorium.
Formerly ACOC Auditorium.
Okay. Now, I understand you're also working very closely with the Greensboro Opera. How does that working out?
Well, that's a different hat that I wear. In 2013, I was appointed the artistic director of Greensboro Opera. So I'm actually in a dual position. We have an official partnership, the two entities, UNCG Opera Theater and the Greensboro Opera. Opera company contributes some money to our program, and in exchange, the opera company gets some benefits in kind and use of facilities.
Sort of a co-production sometimes?
Yeah.
Let me ask you a personal question. I didn't plan on asking this, but I'm fascinated since we just met. When did you develop an interest in opera? And are you going to tell me, hey, it was in high school, or are you going to say when you were...
That's a great question. When I was 13 years old, I sang the title role in Minotti's Amal and the Night Visitors. I was a boy soprano, and I thought, I didn't even know it was an opera.
Yeah.
So I got involved in that and was in musicals throughout my high school career. And then I went away to college, and I was in a few small roles in opera. And then in graduate school, I started in voice and then found myself in the opera department and said, wow, I can get a degree in opera performance. So
but your parents and everybody, they knew you were good. I mean, they could tell you had the pipes, right, even then?
Yeah, my mom used to love hearing me say, I'm great.
Yeah.
Well, she said, sing again, sing it again.
Yeah, I hate to upstage you, David, but I played Captain Von Trapp as a 12-year-old. It was a soprano.
There you go.
I was a soprano, not in The Sopranos. That was a whole other show on HBO. But I sang to Maria at 12 years old.
How do you solve a problem?
Yeah, it was horrible. Now, let me ask you something. We didn't rehearse this or anything, but people say, "Well, opera. I'm a little afraid to go to that. It's a lot of times it's in foreign languages and stuff like that." Now, you work with kids a lot. You bring opera to kids a lot of times. How do you hold their interest with this, and how do you find that they're interested in it?
Oh, you're right. There's that stereotype of opera being the fat lady with the horns singing at the top of her lungs, but it's not. I try to demystify opera in a variety of ways. In the fall semester, UNCG does a tour out to the schools. We bring a children's opera that's K to 5, and it's usually a fairy tale that's told with real opera music.
Cool.
So we'll use the music from Barbara Seville and tell the story, Figatrol and the Three Billy Goats Gruff.
Sure.
So the kids in the audience are just mesmerized because they know the story, they love the story, they're entertained, we have the palm of our hand, but our kids at UNCG who are singing get to sing real opera music. So we go out to the schools, but we also bring students to the Carolina Theater. 6,000 Guilford County fifth graders get to come see opera at the Carolina every February.
What an introduction to that. We're just about out of time. I want to put up the website, uncg.edu. You can go to for general things and check that out. And will you come back sometime and tell me what's coming up in the fall?
Absolutely. Be glad
David,
to.
thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. We'll be right back after this. On Triad Today, and this gentleman I'm going to introduce to you, we had on some time ago, but I wanted to bring him back today because I was interested in this topic with dental health, talking about keeping healthy teeth and gums, and so I dragged him in here to see if he could help us out on this topic. Next to me, our good friend, Dr. Nick Capehart, Ardmore Dentistry in Winston-Salem. Welcome back to the show, sir.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Here.
I hear or I think you actually sent me an email one day about this. There's a new study out that has something to do with a report on millennials and dental health. What was that about?
Well, they're always doing these studies, seeing what people do every day.
Right.
And that's how we find our marketing, figure out how to change healthcare trends and things like that. Well, the one that came out recently said that 30% of millennials brush their teeth less than once a day.
Less than once a day.
Less than once a day.
Now, let me just ask a stupid question here. What's the risk of only brushing your teeth once a day? You said less than, but let's say they brush it once a day. What's the risk of doing that?
You don't have many friends.
Well,
No,
I don't have any friends anyway. It has nothing to do with how often I brush. No, seriously.
Yeah, well, we grew up, I'm part of this generation too, a creche generation. We grew up with fluoride in our waters. We grew up with parents hounding you every night, making sure you brush your teeth. And so most of this generation doesn't have any problems. And so what's the risk? Short term, probably not a lot other than maybe some bad breath. But long term is where we worry about really the major issues. And you look at things like, as we get older, we're not able to get away with the things we used to get away with. You used to get eat whatever you wanted to and it didn't matter. You didn't have to sleep. You get older, those things kind of change.
Right, right.
And
well, can this also lead to certain types of gum disease if you don't brush enough? Or
absolutely. You look at getting things like, of course, we worry about cavities. And then we worry about bigger issues like gum disease. And mostly, gum disease itself is an infection that lives in the gum. And the easiest way to take care of gum disease is just prevent it from happening.
Sure.
And you keep the teeth healthy, you keep the gums healthy, you keep them clean, you don't have these problems. And what the study we were just talking about really concerns me is it's so much easier to develop healthy habits as it is to try to break bad habits.
That's true.
And
That's true.
You get this younger generation, they're setting themselves up for problems without developing some decent healthy
Now, if
habits.
somebody really develops a serious problem with gum, has gum disease or whatever, would a dentist such as yourself then refer them to a specialist, or how does that work?
Well, it kind of depends. A lot of it's the severity, a lot of it's patients, a lot of it's the type and how the patient wants to be treated. There's a subspecialty of dentistry that just is devoted to that. It's periodontist, and where that came from, the area around the tooth is called the periodontium, and that's people that specialize in that. And it's not just keeping the gums healthy. There's more to it. If the case is relatively mild and straightforward, that's something that's managed in our office. If it's severe, they're going to need more than just one or two treatments. It's complex, or maybe they end up losing some things. We have to end up maybe rebuilding some things.
Right.
Then, we generally use the help of a specialist to at least get the process rolling.
Well, let me, before time runs out on us, let me flip this around for a second. We talked about millennials only brushing less than once a day, perhaps. If I ask you very quickly to say, what's your recommendation on how many times one should brush their teeth a day?
Well, you really like to get twice a day. And the reason, there's an old adage, you brush your teeth at night to keep your teeth, and you brush your teeth in the morning to keep your friends.
Well, that's right. You're big on that. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to brush my teeth right after the show, and I'm going to go out there. I better have some more friends quickly, Nick. Now,
guarantee on that.
That's right. Here's the website, www.wsdentist.com for our radio listening audience, wsdentist.com, or you can call 336-760-9840. That's all up on screen. Dr. Nick Capehart, Ardmore Dentistry. Thanks for helping us out on this.
Thank you.
All right,
Good to be
Doc.
here.
We'll be right back after this. Triad Today, I always like to grab this gentleman, get him in here when we can to talk about High Point Theater, and here he is again. He just happened to walk into the building. Dave Briggs, good to see you again, sir.
Good to see you, Jim.
Before we get going, I want to remind folks that because they look at on your website, which we'll give later, and say, hey, there's a lot of stuff going on there. Now, the performances and things, sometimes they're competitions, dance competitions, whatever. These are not all things that are under the auspices of High Point Theater, but they happen at the High Point Theater, which means we want to remind folks that organizations and groups can rent the theater.
That's exactly right. And in the next 6 weeks, we've got 6 schools of dance. We've got South University graduations, business meetings. Theater Art Gallery is going to have another gallery coming up on the 31st of May. There are lots and lots of things going on at the High Point Theater that are not shows that we buy,
Right.
Or shows that are specifically rented out for us for entertainment
So
purposes.
they pay a rental fee, they
Yeah.
use the theater, and you provide the security and I think that's
All the
great.
staff and everything.
When does a typical season, we're going to talk about your new season in a second, when does the High Point Theater season start and end? Because a lot of people say, well, isn't it January to December? But are you kind of like TV industry sometimes and you start in the fall, or
We're
what?
a lot more like the TV industry. Our season usually runs from September through May, sometimes April. Occasionally we'll do something in August. That doesn't mean we don't do shows during those times, but they're not events that we have specifically targeted as part of our Passport to Entertainment series.
Very quickly, how would you assess the past season? How did it do?
I think we had a great year. Black Violin was phenomenal. Al Stewart was just incredible to hear him do Year of the Cat. John Sebastian and David Grissman did a great job.
Dawn
A lot
Wells,
of fun.
who
Dawn
played it.
Wells was with us. And she is so engaging. That was a very, very special night. We had a lot of shows that I just think if you come to the theater, you're expecting an experience, and when you come to the High Point Theater, it is so intimate.
Yeah.
That you're going to get that intimate
And we
experience.
make it sound like the theater's small, but it holds like what? There's like 930 some
We hold
seats.
930, but
Big
it's only
place, but it's well.
it's only 56 feet from the front of the stage to
Right.
the back of the
Right.
back of the theater.
And you don't feel
Yeah.
squeezed in. It's nice seating and whatever. All right, let me go. I want to do sort of a, like they say in the game shows, I want to do a lightning round here. I want to go down the 2018-2019 season. I'm going to throw out a month and a couple of names, and if you want to react to them, that's fine. September, coming up in September, the Sauce Boss and the Tannehill Weavers. Any comment on those two?
Tannehill Weavers are an amazing Scottish group. The Sauce Boss plays kind of Delta blues rock music, but all the while he's making a big pot of gumbo, and everybody in the theater gets a bowl of gumbo after
you
the
kidding?
show.
You're
I'm
serious?
dead serious.
If I go
The
there, I
Sauce
get
Boss.
gumbo.
You're going to get some gumbo.
All right, and this is weird. In November, coming up in November, Aubrey Logan, Raleigh Ringers, Sons of Serendip, and the Manhattan Transfer. 4 different disparate things.
Yeah,
as
they
we
are
say.
indeed. November is a crazy month. Aubrey Logan was one of the original members of Postmodern Jukebox, kind of a jazz, light-hearted thing. Sons of Serendip were on America's Got Talent, finished in the top
Right.
3 on that. Raleigh Ringers. You're going to hear Stairway to Heaven played with handbells. It's phenomenal.
Pretty neat. And Manhattan Transfer.
Manhattan Transfer have had, I don't know how many Grammy Awards and #1 hits.
In December, you have the High Point Ballet. You also have Herman's Hermits.
We have Peter Noon's Old English Christmas. We're delighted about that. He is from, one of the Herman's Hermits.
Yeah.
Peter Noon is Herman Hermit. Peter is Herman.
Yeah.
And so half of the concert will be Peter singing, "Oh, Mrs. Brown, you've got a lovely daughter," and then the rest of it is singing traditional
Absolutely.
Christmas songs.
And
Yeah.
coming in 2019, Love Letters is a show called Love Letters. Branford Marcellus, I like Branford, and Billy Crash Craddock, our buddy, coming back.
Yep.
Love Letters stars who?
Love Letters stars Barbara Eden from I Dream of Jeannie, and
Hal Linden.
Hal Linden, who was Barney Miller,
All right.
along with other things.
That's gonna be great.
Oh man, I could listen to Hal Linden read the phone book. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah, he's
it's gonna
great.
be
And we have Branford Marcellus, we have Billy Crash Craddock
Absolutely.
coming back. We love Billy.
And Branford's that's a Valentine's concert.
Oh, yeah.
So plan ahead. That's going to be a great
All
show.
the more reason for people to get seasons
That's
tickets
right.
because there's so much going on. You're going to like everything in there. Let me give the website. HighPointTheater.com is up on screen. I'll say it again for the radio audience. HighPointTheater.com. And you can also call the box office 336-887-3001. Hey, we got through that, didn't we?
We did.
Thanks
Amazing.
for everything, Dave.
Thank you, Jim.
All right. Get your season tickets. We'll be right back. All right, today, and before we get to the round table, just want to hold up this copy of Yes Weekly. I hope you'll get it in spite of the fact that I have a column in there. Now, to the round table, and sitting in for our good buddy, Ogie Overman, who's still recovering at home from his surgery, on my immediate right is the illustrious David Daggett from Daggett Shore. You saw him earlier on the program talking about that great soccer program for kids. Next to David is my good friend of 140 years, the chairman of the County Commissioners in Forsyth, Dave Plyler. Next to him, B.J. Barnes, sheriff of Guilford County, a man who once arrested Dave Plyler just for being associated with me, which I thought was not appropriate. Now, anyway, all right, let's get to these topics. Teacher walkout, teacher march to Raleigh. One state lawmaker, guys, said that teachers who left work to march to Raleigh for better pay should have waited 3 weeks when school was out. The legislature would still be in there. They could still accomplish what they wanted to do. Given the disruptions that occurred, school closings and whatnot, does the legislator have a valid point? Should the teachers have waited? David?
I could argue either side of that issue. The day of the walkout was the first day of the legislative session. They were there in mass wearing their red T-shirts. On the first day, that's a day to make a point, show unity, show the collective opinion
Right.
of the group. And even our local Donnie Lambeth last Wednesday commended them for being there, and he's on the conservative end of the spectrum.
But you said you could argue either way.
I could argue either way. There are only 3 or 4 weeks left in the school year, and it would have been less disruptive, particularly at the last minute. Parents, I think when schools close for snow or anything else, you don't realize the ripples that go through with the parent difficulties.
Absolutely. Dave Plyler.
I'll have to speak with a bias because I have 2 daughters who are school teachers, and I can speak without hesitation or reservation that in this particular case, the teachers are absolutely on the money, and the General Assembly is playing pure, solid politics.
I'm not sure that they'll get the raise one way or the other. I mean, there's a raise built in from last year that happened
I'll
this year.
second that.
But you'll second what Dave said. BJ.
From a practical standpoint, the best thing to do would have been wait. From an optics standpoint, to get the point across, the best thing for them to do was to go today.
All right, so BJ, are you suggesting that they wanted the disruptions?
I'm suggesting that they wanted to make an impact, and the best way to make an impact was to go today.
All right, speaking of education, a high school in Greenville, South Carolina warned parents that anyone who cheers, whistles, or applauds at graduation ceremonies will be fined $1,000. School officials say graduation should be a solemn occasion. You guys agree with that, and what do you think about the fine? Quickly, David Daggett.
Well, I don't know if it should be solemn. I just had a daughter recently graduate from high school. I was surprised at the amount of whistling, catcalls, and yelling. It needs to be toned down a little bit.
But the fine, $1,000 fine?
I don't think that's going to work.
Dave Plyler.
It's a pipe dream. It'll never happen because everybody's going to cheer, not because someone died, but because they got out of school.
Yeah, all right, BJ.
Find the person who came up with this idea, $1,000, because I'm telling you, this is stupid.
It's not
That's
gonna
right.
work.
Okay, changing topics. Sex offenders like Bill Cosby and Charlie Rose are now being stripped of their various awards and honors. Are you guys okay with rescinding awards or an honorary college degree when someone commits a crime, or should one have nothing to do with the other? David Daggett.
Well, it depends how bad the crime is. Yes, there's times when you strip awards. There's times when you don't. There's a continuum. Obviously, there's a dangerous middle ground, and that's difficult.
David Plyler.
David Daggett is correct, but you got to remember one thing. Charles B. Aycock, who was named after the school I went to in Greensboro, the Aycock Junior High School, was rescinded 100 years later because they said a white
Name off the
supremacist.
building. Yeah, BJ.
Rescinded. If I was to receive that award, I wouldn't want to be associated with anybody that had that kind
So
of
if you got an
background.
honorary degree from a college that gave Charlie Rose an honorary degree and they didn't strip him, you would give yours back?
Would I give it back?
Yeah.
Yes, I would.
Okay.
I
Now,
definitely wouldn't put it down on my resume.
right. The Kansas legislature, guys, just passed a law that allows faith-based adoption agencies to turn away gay and lesbian couples based on religious beliefs. Now, with so many children in need of a loving home, does this new law make any sense to you guys? And do you think it'll be challenged in court? David Daggett.
Well, yes, I think it'll be challenged in court. I think those are tough ethical decisions that society is going to have to face. I think you always look to the best interest of the child.
David.
David Daggett always says the right thing, and in this particular instance, I would have to say, from my perspective, what my mother said. The Catholic Church says, give us your children and we will raise them Catholic. And that's basically what could be a big problem and should be in the courts.
BJ.
Well, children have needs, and if those needs can be met, they need to be met. You know, I think it will go to court, and I think they will probably lose it.
Right, because the argument is a married gay couple can provide a loving home for a child, and should the child miss out on that? Okay, the president of South Korea has suggested that Donald Trump receive the Nobel Peace Prize for bringing North Korea to the table. Now, of course, the meeting hasn't happened; it may not. But do you think that if everything goes well, that President Trump deserves the Nobel Peace Prize? David Daggett.
I think it's way premature to even be talking about
Dave
that.
Plyler.
I'll go one more. Way.
BJ.
I don't think that he's going to get the Nobel Peace Prize for this. I mean, you know, he can't get a fair shake with the media at all.
No,
so
I know.
He's not going to get
and
that.
you're a good friend with President Trump,
I am.
BJ, and I think you should get the Nobel Peace Prize for that. All right, finally, guys, according to a Business Insider magazine, weddings are getting more and more expensive. Speaking of which, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's wedding is going to cost $45 million. with most of that going to pay for security. My question, guys, is did your wedding cost $45 million, and did you hire security for it? David Daggett.
Well, Dave remembers my wedding. I did not need security, and it did not cost very much.
All right, Dave
And
Flower.
David was married on Valentine's Day. You got to remember that.
We're talking about the cost, though, Dave Flower. Did you know
that.
He forgot the question.
Did your wedding cost a lot, Dave?
No, we met at a church that had 50 people as a membership, and we just couldn't afford to pay their price.
And you are Mr. Security. What about you?
Oh, let me tell you something. Now, when I got married, it didn't cost anywhere near that. And I can tell you, as far as security, almost everybody there was a cop, and everybody had guns.
Yeah, BJ had 400 cops at his wedding. Oh, man. Well, guys, thanks for doing this. David Daggett, thanks for sitting in for Ogie. And, I want to do this. Researchers at Wake Forest University have just discovered that male and female bats don't talk to each other during mating season. Ask what the bat does after mating. One researcher said they go out for a bite. See the bats, they will, if they go out and, that's all.
You're under arrest.
We'll see you next week. Yeah.